What's up, everybody? I am Baron Baptiste, and this is a show for disrupting the drift, disrupting the conspiracy for mediocrity. This is a place where we can tell the truth, and the truth can be told. Please share the show if you get some value. Share it. This is how we grow it. It's all word of mouth. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you get notified when we drop a new episode. And leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on. Leave a 5-star review. That also helps kind of neutralize the trolls out there who love to just hate and carry their bile and like to spill it out everywhere. But yeah, leave a 5-star review. We appreciate that. I'm here with my good friend David Masters. How are you, buddy?
It's great to be here, Baron. It's almost like it is the refreshing cup of the water of life for me.
Oh, I like that. I get it. There's something therapeutic, right, about just having real conversations, exploring, getting curious, getting real about real life, real people, real situations. The real stuff that matters. Being in these kind of conversations, definitely, I'm left elevated and with a new lightness of being every time. Mm-hmm. But look, I have a question here. I think it's a good one. It's actually, how do I want to say this? It's an important one. Mm-hmm. Here it is. I'm at a point where I see people around me not growing with me. And it's feeling like I'm being held back, both in my work and in my social circles. Any advice? So let me just say a couple of things that come to mind right here. There is something about, I've experienced this over the years, is like, if you're someone who has a deep yearning to grow, you're driven in a sense, something inwardly calls you toward growth. If you're someone who at any different points in your life, like I am, I can look through different eras, different phases. I've been someone who, I don't like saying has reinvented myself. That's not the accurate language, but you could say I've been reinvented, but I'm saying not like as a willful act of inventing myself, like inventing some new gadget or something. It's different. It's more the insight, the inner kind of growth, the recognition of where I've gone wrong, or the recognition of my mistakes or my flaws, and having a commitment to working with them and overcoming them. And then in that, there's new space. There's new growth. And in that new space and new growth, it's a new space of a fertile space for possibilities to grow and think bigger and act more freely, free to be, free to act, free to interpret every situation in life. It's easy to be reactive and have just one interpretation of something that's happening. But when we increase space, we grow, we just see more pathways, alternative pathways in every situation, in every kind of moment when we're dealing with real people, real relationships, real situations, real moments. So there is something about, I know when I grow, that people around me maybe no longer kind of fit because they're not growing along with me. And so they're thinking, or people are threatened by your growth. There's that piece. There's another part of this that I think doesn't necessarily have to do with outgrowing people. It more has to do with just waking up to the people around you. There's just the waking up of people around you. And I think that that's something to consider when you start just waking up, different than growth. But when you just start waking up, opening your eyes, and you see that certain people around you, what they're committed to. They're just gossipy, or they're just about tearing other people down, or they're part of the cancel culture clown troll people. That vibe, that they operate at a certain frequency, and you wake up and you're like, whoa, I got sucked into this whole world of groupthink, or just with another person that's still groupthink in a sense, right? Two becomes a crowd. But I think that there's something to look at, both waking up and seeing then the effects that people around you have on you. Certain people elevate you. Around them, you're uplifted. Around them, your creative force, your connection to your creator, to God, to Jesus, to whoever your source of your spiritual source might be, to inspiration, and then people around you who dull your consciousness, dull your awareness. People around you, waking up around people who maybe in very subtle ways are robbing your energy, stealing your life force. It's subtle, but intuitively, and then doing that to yourself, being judgmental, being critical, being resentful, being, like small minded, or betraying your own values, or betraying your own integrity, betraying your ethics. You're sabotaging self. So this is what I want to say. And then I'm going to pass it on to you, David. But you're outgrowing people. See that happens. That is a part of growing in life and business, and being a father, being a husband, being a friend, being, you outgrow people, but you also want to be waking up to people around you and getting real about it. And I say people that are negative, leave them behind, period. Leave them behind, period. Okay, David, what do you see about this question?
So it's pretty simple for me, because I can think back to a number of people that I have left behind. But I've heard it said of political affiliations that I didn't leave the party left me. And I don't think that it's actually you that leaves people, but that they no longer are part of your tribe for natural reasons, because there are seasons in life. And look, I make no apologies for this. I love the people that love what I love. And I don't care who they are. I don't care what tribe they're from. I don't care what language they speak. I don't care what they look like. If they have a similar love of the things that I love, that is how I know that they're my people, and that I know that that's my tribe. And that's simple. That's what I call the conscious process of elimination. I talk about it sometimes. But really, I don't eliminate. When I go to a restaurant, I look at the menu. I just look at what I don't want, and what's left, I'm really happy with. I'll take that. And so I eliminate all the things out of my life. And you, by the way, you have an obligation to do this for yourself. You have an obligation to begin that process of elimination. Have you ever seen that show called Hoarders? Where the people have their homes full of junk?
Oh, I've watched it in small bites, man. That's so painful.
It's hard. It's hard to watch.
It's painful. It's deeply sad that people descend into that.
But see, what they do is they put the value of who they are on this junk and this crap that they accumulate. They feel that they need it, because the more of it they have, the more they have a sense of the fullness of their lives, and really all it is a bunch of boat anchors. 99% of everything those people have needs to be cleaned out. And then they have these experts that come in and help them realize they don't need this and that and this and that and that. That's what we do, basically. We're like hoarders, helpers, hoarder helpers. That's what we are. Because and also it's all based on a belief, a mindset, a philosophy. What makes you think that you need to have that person in your life or this thing in your life? What is it that, where's the objectivity here? That's the question. So when you get to objectivity, you begin to realize, you know what? You don't need that thing, and you don't need that relationship. And you know how many times people end up saying, wow, I'm now that that relationship is over, I feel so much better. Yeah, because you've just
Mm.
allowed people to take over your life and dictate to you who you can and cannot be. And sadly, I think a lot of that stems from us making mistakes and not having our own compass so that we can see our own direction, and then making mistakes because we don't know what we're doing. And then we begin to defer to other people because we don't want to take the chances. We don't want to make mistakes and say, "Ah, oh, darn it, I made another mistake." So you ask other people. And I have a son, he's 18 years old, and whenever he wants to do something, he calls his friends. What do you think we should do? It's like, man, don't do that. Of course, he's young, all right, and he's going to learn.
Mm.
And each time he does that, something happens, and I say, you see, I told you. You try to warn people, you try to tell them, make your own decisions, make up your own mind. But unfortunately, he doesn't really have his own mind yet. And this is another core of the problem. That if you don't have your own mind, then you don't know what you need and what you don't need. But when you begin to identify that first thing and you realize, man, I
Mm.
don't need this anymore. I'm just going to get rid of it, sell it or give it to a friend, or I'll just throw it away. About a year ago, I went through my garage and man, I got rid of tons of just stuff. And I looked at it and I said, it's been sitting there for 10 years. Do I really need it? The answer was no, I don't. It's relationships, it's stuff. And when just identifying the stuff that you don't need, forget about what you need. Let's just take that as a given right now. Forget about what
Yeah,
you need.
I
What you
really,
don't need is really the core of the issue.
yeah, yeah, it's very good. What you don't need. What is dead weight? So
Yeah.
there's dead weight of things, material things. And in our society, we're consumers. We consume, we take in, it's all flow in, and we consume, whether it's information, we consume food, drink, things, like we just buy Amazon, like just we're consumers. We take in, but then this becomes dead weight. But then also we collect people. It's a certain kind of mindset or an outlook on life where we're trying to fill some kind of void. So if you're a consumer in life, you're filling that void not only with things and just endless, mindless, whether it's social media or TV or Netflix or just junk food. You're taking all this in, but also in the form of people. And when you have a void that you're trying to fill and with people, you will keep, the default is you will keep people around you that create dead weight. I mean, I did this for years, it was really a big weakness I had in my building my business, building, a global brand, yoga and studios in, hundreds of locations and trainings and training thousands of teachers and people and in a methodology every year and growing something and being around a lot of people. One weakness I did have, I mean, really all the way up into the pandemic, I kept people around that they just weren't going where I was going. And there was dead weight. And I'd say like not people that were in my immediate circle. Like I got pretty good about people who really had integrity around me. I didn't want yes people around me. The people who were yes people that kind of hovered, at a distance, those people I didn't trust. I never trust yes people. Like the people I trusted were the ones who tell it like it is and stand shoulder to shoulder, and we can disagree, but I know I'm getting truth and from them. But I think my point in saying that, even you have to watch out for yes people, because a lot
Mm-hmm.
of yes people, they've got agendas. They're running agendas that, and it may not be dark and evil, might be that they want to tear you down, but it's just they're not operating out of their center. They're not operating out of truth. They have some agenda, whether that's, to just be kind of seen in a certain light. They want approval, or they want everyone to like them, including you if you're the leader. But those people are dangerous, is something I had to learn. The ones that want everybody to like them and want you to like them, those people are dangerous. And I don't mean like necessarily physically dangerous, but they're they're dangerous in their weakness. So there's that kind of people. But this is what I want to say. I think more in a general sense, you have an obligation to yourself to keep your energy, your frequency, your space clear, your mental space, your mental landscape, your your body, your mind, your being, your spirit, your connection to your creator, living true to yourself, that self first, not selfish, but self first, is your obligation. If especially you're someone who, like you say here, is someone who wants to grow, it's your obligation. And though I want to say you have zero obligation to maintain the relationships you have with negative people or people that pull you down, like zero. You have zero obligation to keep people like that around. Now, you could get powerful at setting the boundaries. Like maybe you don't deal with those people, or you deal with them once in a while if they happen to be family or, old friends, and you don't want to get them completely out of your life. I don't know. You have to determine that. But I would say, I don't care who they are. Just as a basic rule, like I don't care who they are. If you truly want to become great in life or really discover the essence of who you are, your potential, this is something you need to take very seriously, very literally. Mm-hmm. The longer you keep these kind of relationships around, and I'm speaking from experience, the longer you keep these kind of relationships, these relationships that at some level hold you back, undermine you, they're dead weight, they're, negative nillies in the background, or they just create drama. They take up your mental real estate. They take up mental space. The longer you keep yourself from progressing, the longer you keep those types around, the longer you keep spiraling on a horizontal plane, running around in circles at the bottom of the mountain and not beginning the climb or on the climb. So becoming that next level, that next possibility of who you are is, it's hard enough without getting your energy sucked out, zapped out, stuffed down, squashed out of you by people who are determined to lose or to not grow. So leave them behind. It's a requirement. Yeah, it's a requirement.
Yeah. Can you read the first part of that question again about growing? People are not growing with me. Is that what this person says?
Yeah, I'm at a point where I see people around me not growing with me.
That's enough right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what occurs to me so clearly is that it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. See, when you say people around me, people not growing with me, of course they're not going to grow with you. You're an individual. You have your own trajectory. You have your own purpose that is unique to you. You don't need to ask anybody permission, or you don't need to have them come along with you. This is your journey. Give yourself permission. For God's sake, give yourself permission to be the fullest, greatest, most absolutely happy version of the person that you can be. Yeah. Don't ask anybody else ever for permission to do that.
Very good. Yeah, very good. I also like it's like, okay, there's the thing of I outgrow people. Someone committed to growth. As someone committed to growth, I outgrow people. I can outgrow people and wait for them to drop off, wait for them to fall off, wait for them to, but that's a terrible strategy. And you're avoiding something. It means you have some weakness, or you lack courage to actually have the kind of real, authentic conversations with people and go, hey, look, your negativity is just draining on me. Your negativity is a zap. And I don't resent you. Like, I don't hate you. I love you. I want the best for you, but you don't fit where I am anymore. It just, and in fact, I also appreciate that people leave us. So maybe originally these people were a person's a really good close friend to you, and then we change, we grow, and then they actually they leave you.
Yeah, and it can happen with
Maybe,
family too. By the way, a
yeah,
lot of people have
maybe,
kids,
right?
and those kids, like
Yeah,
a friend of mine, I talked about this. I think last time my friend
yeah,
says, "I've lost my son." I said, "No, you haven't. You've given him all the things that you could give him. You've given him a good upbringing. You've been a good father. Your mother has been a good mother. They've loved their children, and the kids just got sucked into the
yeah,
world. Okay, goodbye. Let me
yeah,
know when you're ready
yeah,
to come home." It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's really right. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, and he was pretty heartbroken. He said, "Well, what do you?" I said, "What's going on with you? You know, what's happening?" And he said, "Well, I'm heartbroken. My wife doesn't want to, love me anymore. Doesn't want to be married to me anymore." And I said, "Well, what happened there?" And he said, "Well, he said, I work all the time. I'm, so I get that part of it." He said, "But I haven't left the relationship."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, he said, "She and I actually don't have a lot of conflict, or it's not like we fight all the time. That's not it. But she's left the relationship, and she acknowledges that. She says, look, I just want to hang out with my friends now. I want to explore like being single. I want to, explore this new life." Okay, so that's just what's so. And
Well,
though my point to that is
yeah.
is people leave us. No, right. And now he, and I said, "Well, how are you handling that?" And he said, "Well, actually, this has been going on for about a year, and I've really, kind of stood for our relationship and a way to recover it, way to heal it, a way to." And it's like, and he said, "I feel like I've exhausted it, and it's actually the more I resist this, the more problems it creates
Well, one thing,
between us." So
one thing.
allowing people to leave us and
Yeah.
deal with that. But yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Hmm?
Well, I mean, it's an undeniable truth of life. The only person you can't deal with what you don't have control over. So it's not what happens; it's how you deal with it. Everything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
How you deal
Yeah.
with it is up to you. And it's like, okay, so somebody has a heart attack, and you're sitting there giving them pulmonary resuscitation. You going to do that for a year, 2 years, 3 years? You're going to keep pumping that heart to keep the blood flowing in? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you say, I got to focus, like you said, self first. I got to focus on my
Yeah.
life now. Let it be on them. They own it. They own it. If they don't have the love, they don't have the love. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Next.
No, it's very good. Very good. I learned that with employees. I think for a lot of years, I had created culture that, okay, we are going to empower people, employees, staff, and, develop them, empower them like that. And I stand by that. And though there's a default to that, if you don't have someone who is hungry to grow and has a genuine, sincere, honest desire to really grow with the company or with their job, in their role, in their vertical of where they're going, and you're trying to lead a horse to water, that is a waste of time, energy, resources, lifeblood, if not yours directly, the people that you're putting in charge of managing those people. And it's really, it takes two to tango, so to speak, right? You can only dance with people who want to dance.
That's right.
And I think the same goes back to this question is, if you're outgrowing people, allow for that and be straight about it.
Embrace it. Yeah.
Embrace it and let them go, because, in a way it's death. And I think it maybe fundamentally has something to do with a fear of death, because we don't, when someone moves on or we move on from a relationship, that's a kind of death. When, we lose a pet, okay, that's a death. But we want to avoid death, okay? We do that. But all these smaller, actual death, but I'm speaking to little deaths in life. We avoid them, or the death that's painful of, like, someone will then judge us or criticize us. But there's a death in us that happens where we actually, I thought they were going to think highly of me, or I want them to think highly of me, and that idea has to die. And we don't want that, so we'll avoid any kind of death. But the truth is, in death, even physical death, I was thinking about this earlier, we could die anytime. We don't know when. We live, typically, I believe people live like, oh yeah, other people are going to die, and they could die randomly, they could die spontaneously in any moment, but we don't live like could die at any time, and we could die from pneumonia, you could die from some random accident. There's some this I heard this football player guy, this retired NFL guy who is not too far from here on a bike trail. He's riding his bicycle, and the guy fell and hit his head and died right there on the bike trail. I mean, he went out to just have enjoy a bike ride,
Yeah.
and bam, gone and done. And there's just all kinds of things like that. You see that in whether in sports, you go surfing and someone dies, on the day, or they go skiing and they die, or death can just happen in a moment. But if my point in bringing this up is if you can really embrace, in a sense, death, you will allow for the multitude of many little deaths through life. You won't be so attached, holding on, clinging, because at death, you hold on to nothing. You drop your body, you drop it all. But it's almost like a practice toward death, like these daily give ups, giving things up, giving things that stop you, that undermine you, eating those certain foods or certain habits, staying up late watching TV, or staying up on, draining your energy out into social media, draining it out in what you take in. It's like the death of those things that don't serve you is preparation in life for a greater existence.
You're right. It is preparation. It's as a matter of fact, it's kind of a rehearsal for another level, so that you can get it right through the experiences of trial and error. And let me say what scripturally what it says in Matthew 16:25. It says, "Then Jesus told his disciples, if anyone wants to come after me," in other words, if anyone wants to follow me into this new direction, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world yet forfeits his soul? Or what can a man or woman give in exchange for his soul? I mean, this is really the crux of the issue. Whoever wrote this, it's a beautiful moment for you. A beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. The freedom. Like, drop the chains of those who are kind of Klingons, dragon people. They drag on you.
On that note, I have to say sayonara. Yes.
Wow. How did that come out of our mouth simultaneously?
That was great.
All right. Very good. Well, no, this is very good. You all, thank you. Thank you, David. Very good. Just being here always. You all stay blessed. Please share the show. We appreciate you sharing the show. It's how we grow and pay it forward. Stay blessed. And until next time, peace out.